Level 1. The Dreamer. You're 12, and the poster on your wall is a BMW M3 in Laguna Seca blue. You don't own one. You won't for a long time, but you know it by heart. Inline 6, high revs, a sound people describe like they're talking about a person. You read everything. Forums on a cracked phone, magazines you keep in a drawer in order. You watch the same build videos until you can recite them. You learn the difference between a 320 and a 330 before you learn to drive. Your dad had an old one before you were born, and he gets a look when he talks about it. You don't have money, you don't have a car, you have attention and patience and time. What you don't know yet is that this poster is the start of the next 20 years. Level 2. The First 3. You're 18, and your first BMW is not the one on the poster. A tired, older 3 Series with faded paint and a driver's seat that sags on one side. You paid almost nothing for it, and the seller seemed relieved to be done. It rattles. It burns a little oil. You love it anyway, because it's yours. You service it yourself. You have to. A laptop on a stool, a YouTube tab open. You change the oil and realize you should have done it 3 times before this. You replace the brake pads and finally understand how a brake actually works. The first lesson every BMW guy learns. The best car to own is the one you can fix. The mystique of a car dies the second it becomes a stranger you book by appointment. 2 years with this car, and you've learned more than any course could teach you. You've also saved a little, not a lot, enough for the one you actually wanted. Level 3. The First Tune, a used G20 330i, the modern one. 2-liter turbo 4, 255 horsepower. The B48, closed deck block, forged crank, a twin-scroll turbo built to take more than it makes. From the factory, it's smooth, comfortable, honestly a little polite. And then you find the part of the internet that exists only to wake these cars up. The first mod is a cold air intake. 3 weekends of research, 1 afternoon to fit it. You start it, and the induction noise changes instantly. Deeper, hungrier. Owners always say the same thing after this one. Now it feels like a turbo car. Then the charge pipe. The factory one is plastic, and under boost it cracks. And then the real one, the tune. Stage 1. No dyno, no shop. A cable in the port, an app on your phone, your own driveway. The factory computer gets rewritten, more boost, sharper timing, the leash taken off. 4 maps now live on your steering wheel, switchable with the cruise buttons. You pull onto an empty road and bury the throttle, and the car finally answers back. It's modest on paper, maybe 20, 30 more horsepower. It does not feel modest. You log the data afterward and read it like a language you're just starting to speak. Somewhere in that flash, you stopped being a passenger in your own car. Level 4. The Meet Regular. You hear about a meet, a parking lot, Sunday evening, and you show up. The first time, it feels like walking into a room where everyone already knows each other. You park next to a slammed wagon, and the owner walks over and asks about your setup. You talk for an hour. The community teaches you what the garage never could. You learn the difference between work that's actually good and work that just looks good. Someone shows you your wheel fitment is wrong in a way you couldn't see yourself. Here, cars get judged with an honesty that feels brutal until you realize it's respect. Nobody is polite about a bad build because politeness would be the insult. You add coilovers, the car sits lower, tighter, and you get the fitment right this time. And slowly, your build gets cleaner, not more extreme. Cleaner. Restraint is harder than excess, and every serious BMW guy arrives there eventually. Level 5. The Builder. You're 25, and the bolt-ons stop being random. They start being a system. The downpipe comes off. This is the one with consequences. Catless makes the most power, but it's a problem for the street and for emissions. So you run a high-flow cat, power, and a car that still passes inspection. A bigger intercooler, because hot air is thin air, and thin air is lost power. Then ethanol. You blend in E30, and the engine drinks it like it was waiting for it. Flex fuel tuning lets the car read the blend and adjust itself on the fly. Every change connects to the next. Air, fuel, heat, timing. One system, finally understood. You open the map editor yourself, thousands of tables, change one and log the result. You put it on a dyno you respect, and the number comes with a chart behind it. Around 300 horsepower, all four wheels working, all of it real. And you learn the ceiling. The crank and rods are forged, the pistons are not. Knowing where the limit is the difference between a builder and someone who got lucky. Level 6. The track rat. Someone invites you to a track day, a real circuit, and you go expecting to be fast. Instead, you discover you don't actually know how to drive your own car. An instructor rides along for 3 laps, stays quiet, then tells you 3 things you're doing wrong. You brake too early. You carry too much speed in and lose it on the way out. Your hands are tense, and the tension is going straight into the steering. Driving a tuned car on the road and driving it on a track are not the same thing. One is listening to music. The other is playing it. You build the car differently after this. Pads that survive heat, fluid that won't boil. Grippier tires, because grip is everything, and everything else is secondary to it. You take weight out, rear seats gone, things you'd never touch on a road car. The car gets faster, you get faster, and you can't tell the two apart anymore. A faster car with an undeveloped driver is just a faster way to make the same mistakes. Level 7. The known name. You're 29, not famous, known. People recognize your car at events, your posts get shared, builders know your name. You start helping others with their builds, not for money, but because the problem is interesting. A friend's car runs rough under boost. 3 tuners touched it, 3 tuners missed it. You spend a Saturday with a laptop and a sensor, working through it one variable at a time. You find a boost leak so small it took 3 people to miss it. The car runs clean for the first time in 2 years. Diagnosis is its own skill. Building is knowing how things should go together. Diagnosis is knowing why they didn't. You build something special, a B48 making numbers that used to sound fictional. It gets featured, and messages arrive from people in countries you've never been to. Level 8. The shop. You're 33, and you're doing this for money now, consistently, and that changes everything. A lift, a laptop with half a dozen tuning platforms, and a waiting list 3 weeks long. When it's your own car, you accept some risk. When it's someone else's, the standard is absolute. The difference between a tune that works and a tune that's right is invisible to most people. You develop specialties, ethanol builds, gearbox tuning, hybrid turbos on the little 4-cylinder. People bring you things they bought cheap and tuned badly and want fixed. Some are fixable, some are dangerous, and you have to say things people don't want to hear. You've seen enough engines killed by bad decisions to know which lines are worth holding. Cars you've touched start winning. One of them holds a record for its class. The community knows you differently now, not as a guy with a good build, but as a practice. Level 9. The legacy. You're 42, and the car in your shop is going to hold a record. You already know it, because you've done the math 500 times, and nothing on it was a compromise. You built the engine yourself over months because no one would know it the way you do. Record day. The first run reveals something the data never showed in testing. You fix it that evening, and the next day the car runs clean, and the record falls. You don't post about it right away. You drive home, and you sit in the quiet, and you think about that tired first 3 series, and the laptop on the stool, and the poster. The distance between that kid and this moment is almost impossible to measure, and yet the logic is perfectly clear. Every step followed the one before it. You've trained people who have their own shops now. The knowledge moves faster than you ever did. You still do the work yourself. The day you stop, the knowledge drifts from real to theoretical. Somewhere right now, a 16-year-old is in a driveway with a cheap 3 series and a cracked phone. They're going to strip a bolt. They're going to feel stupid, and they're going to get it right. And they'll feel the thing that points you forward for the next 20 years. They'll learn what you learned and what you didn't. That's how it's supposed to work.